Yo, what's up, everybody? Dave from Fan Futsal here. Going to do a rapid match recap of the Columbus versus Toronto 0-0 first leg Eastern Conference Finals match that just concluded Tuesday, November 21st. Got all my dates, got all my names in there. So let's get right into it. Before the match, some of the things to note: no Josie, no Giovinco for Toronto. Toronto has still been strong in their absence throughout the year, so I was looking to see how Toronto responded to that. And, they played the game that I think that they wanted to play, very defensive, very conservative. Columbus, meanwhile, rolling out their strongest starting 11, and I think they'll ultimately rue not having taken advantage of no Josie and no Giovinco. Hassler and Mavinga. So I haven't been following Toronto too often this year, but for me, that was a bit surprising over Hageland and Zavaleta. I thought that those guys would have seen the field and that Toronto would have gone with a different system. It seemed like Toronto went with a 4-4-2, which was a little bit different than what they played throughout the year. So that was surprising to me. Getting into the first half, Miram was tucking in a little bit more than Santos. That's one thing that I noticed. Santos was tucking in too as well, but Miram was tucking in definitely a little bit more. Bradley was dropping very, very deep in between the center backs to maintain possession for Toronto, and he was doing that throughout the match. He got a ton of touches on the ball and was very influential in that. Columbus, every time, they're passing out of the back. It always gives me a heart attack. It's very, very dangerous. I mean, they get away with it, but every time it looks like they're one pass away from conceding a terrible, terrible goal like they did in the final a couple years ago. But luckily that didn't happen. Toronto, I know it was a 4-4-2, but it ended up kind of being more of a 4-4-1-1 with Vasquez sitting in behind Ricketts. Columbus actually kind of rolled with the same formation. I mean, theirs was a little bit more too defensive with Artur and Will Trapp playing the defensive center mid, but Trapp actually played a pretty similar style to Bradley. He was dropping in to the center backs. He was maintaining possession, but he wasn't quite as influential as Bradley and wasn't quite as involved, in my opinion. Toronto was super organized defensively, and they were not giving Columbus a ton of space at all. Columbus needed to move the ball a lot quicker. And when Columbus actually did get some opportunities, I didn't think they were effective at going after them. And Toronto was incredibly quick at getting back and condensing and closing down that space. So quicker passing and more movement, especially in the first half. Bradley and Trapp play similar. Already mentioned that. It was pretty much the first half was cagey, what you'd expect from a conference final first leg. There wasn't a ton of chances. There wasn't a ton going on. And ultimately 0-0 at halftime was about as expected. Not a ton of chances for either team. Second half, the biggest kind of most noteworthy thing, first of all, was the Santos no penalty versus penalty call. I know Twellman was very adamant that was definitely not a penalty. I thought that there was somewhat of a shout. There was some contact on Santos's leg. I thought he went down a little bit easy. I was ultimately okay with no VAR, but to completely dismiss it, I thought was a little bit much. I thought that there was at least a little bit of a debate there. But ultimately, I'm okay with the no penalty call. Game was getting very, very chippy in the second half, really starting to feel that playoff atmosphere. Did open up a bit for Toronto. They had a couple of chances breaking forward, but didn't really take advantage of those chances. Again, I wrote in caps, need more intricate movement because there wasn't a ton from Columbus until Mane got onto the field, which I'll touch on in a little bit. I thought Santos played pretty well throughout the match. He was probably Columbus's most influential player, especially throughout the first half and early parts of the second half. Toronto switched to a 3-back system in the 70th minute. Just a little tactical wrinkle that they decided was good for them. Thought the whole match was sloppy and lacking moments of quality. So I literally wrote that. And then less than a minute later, Artur went on that incredible individual run, almost stuck at top bins from 25 out, ultimately missed. And, as I'm sure the match ended 0-0. But it was just funny timing that it just seemed like and outside of that one chance, it just seemed like the entire match was just lacking that moment of quality from either side to take advantage. And so 0-0 is probably a fair result. I thought Miram did not have a great match. When Santos came out and Mane came in, I thought Miram played a lot better, and so maybe it's just a comfortability thing. He also switched to the right wing, so I don't know if he's more comfortable on that side. But there were a couple instances where Miram misplaced a pass, and maybe it was just a miscommunication with his teammates, but I thought that he had a couple rough patches and didn't play well really until Mane came into the match. I thought Columbus could have tried to exploit some of the long diagonal balls over Toronto's back line. They didn't do the couple of times that they did that. It seemed like that there was space there, and they should have taken more advantage of that. This has been driving me crazy the last couple of matches I've seen with Twellman calling Columbus. Is Kekute Mane? His name is Mane, right? Twellman keeps calling him Mene. I've only heard anybody call him Mane. And so that was just something like either I'm in the wrong and don't know what's going on, or Twellman just keeps calling him by the wrong name. But that's just a little something that has been bothering me. So if you know the answer, let us know in the comment section, because I was confused and been bothered by that. Miram switched to the right side. I thought Mane came on, almost had an instant impact, hit that shot from outside, almost put it in the upper 90. I thought he was pretty influential in his like 10 to 15 minute cameo. And maybe you'll see him next time, because I thought Columbus just waited too long to really go for it. And so Mane came on and things started to change. They started to push further forward. And I think that they're going to rue not going after this opportunity to at least get one goal up on Toronto, because Toronto's going to get Gio and Altidore back. And I think they're going to be really tough to beat on the road. Also, Affel's miss in the 84th minute. I mean, you got to give credit to Bono for standing big. I mean, the shot was directly at him, but Affel is going to feel hard done by that miss. That was my thoughts and my quick analysis, my rapid match recap of the Toronto Columbus match. Ended 0-0. I will do another one for the conference semifinals. Let me know if you agree with my analysis, don't agree, missed anything. Let us know. Let me know in the comments section. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I will talk to you all very soon. Thanks, everybody. See ya.